How's it going?
Hey there.
Wait just a second. I think this can be a very quick meeting, but
Yeah.
preparing for the possibility that it's not, but just let people filter in for a second.
Come on, buddy. Put yourself on TV. You can be on TV. Huh.
All right, I'll just start. I think this will be, like I said, pretty brief. This is the September meeting of ANC 1C's Alcoholic Beverage Control and Public Safety Committee. Just to start, welcome again back to the committee.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Just two, basically there's only one item currently on the agenda, which is just a renewal, which we don't have to take any action on unless we choose to. There were two other renewals that within the 7-day window of alerting the public of the agenda.
Mhm.
And I just propose that we add those to the agenda as well. Just to be proper about things, can I get a second?
Second that.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So three agenda items, just three renewals. We had some renewals early in the year that for I think for different license types, but they're kind of trickling in at this point. Ever heard of any issues with these places? I mean, I know in the past some places that have tavern licenses often get a little bit of a different type of what's the word? They get viewed a little bit differently just because
Yeah.
their tells often differently. But these places, as far as I've been commissioner, have been reasonably good. One of them is in the 103, the other, or as most of them are across the street.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you heard anything that's worth mentioning?
I
Otherwise,
have heard nothing on any of these establishments, so have no reservation about moving forward. Yeah.
yeah, same. I mean, it's also, I mean, it's a bigger discussion that we don't have to have tonight. But uh, on one hand, of course, it's always important to see if there's community input on things. On the other hand, or maybe even the same hand, maybe I'm just like forcing this analogy too much. But there's a lot of pressure on a lot of the small businesses at this point in time, and doing too much seeking for things to be upset about isn't necessarily productive, depending on what those things are. So try to take that to heart. But yeah, long story short, I think that there's not really anything to do here. So I'll leave it at that. Any other comments? We have just Brian from the bid here. I don't know if
Um,
is anything to mention as well, but
nothing to add to the agenda. I've got a dog right here,
hmm,
just out of camera range. I'm patting him on the head. I was just going to ask, and when I did this back in 2022, we had monthly briefings from the third district DC
yeah.
police.
So I'm
Does
just
that
gonna
still take place?
It hasn't in a while. I mean, a couple, I guess, things to it. One, we continued to have it, but they kept having, I don't know if it was turnover or just kind of, I think that they reorganized several
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
So there's multiple people that different points in time in the last year and a half or so that were kind of the point in contact for that, and it kind of fell off. And then, frankly speaking, it's just been, the last 8 months has been a weird time in
Yeah.
general. So
Yeah.
I haven't really pushed it just
Yeah.
because of that, as well as the circumstances. There's one, I think it was the lieutenant. I'll double check. There was one person a couple months ago who told me that he'd be the best for it, but I don't know if he's available,
Mhm.
and that's
Okay.
often how it is. Same applies to like the fire department. I've
Yeah.
tried to see if they'd be interested in speaking, and their schedules are really, I think, even weirder than the police.
Yeah.
So they're basically like, it's a nice idea, but it's just too inconvenient. So I'll look back into it. Also, like the last month in particular, uh,
Yes.
yeah, try to understand where our role is in communication with MPD as it
Yeah.
relates to public safety has been more precarious than normal, I think, just because of the circumstances. So, I mean, open to ideas.
Yeah.
Some
I
of
mean,
the police reports
I,
are helpful, but just depends on
I
what the month, I suppose.
I think it's always helpful to keep a channel of communication open. And I mean, I they didn't ask for this mess they're stuck in the middle of now due to the current president. And if they would like to maybe give us their view of what they're trying to accomplish and what constraints they face under home rule and what sort of problems they see developing, I think it'd certainly be helpful. In addition to the
Yeah,
usual discussion about recent criminal events in the neighborhood.
I agree. We can discuss who to approach, which of us should approach whom in the coming weeks or something. But And
Sure.
it depends. A lot of times they do it kind of in their free time, so it's a matter
Mhm.
of their availability, which was the case for a while. Where it was a person, I forget her position, but she would do it very much in her free time. Like one time she was at like the hair salon, so it was really nice of her, but also like completely in
Yeah,
imposition, and also doesn't have access to kind of like the data that we're hoping to hear if
yeah,
they're out in the community on the free
yeah.
time. Just
And
depends.
it's, there were a couple of times when I was able to pose questions to them in advance, and they would show up at the meeting and say,
Yes.
here's the information you were looking for, which is nice.
Yeah. So looking forward, we can look to do that. Don't have him here tonight, but we'll see. Hopefully, the next month will be easier than the last one. We'll, I guess, find out soon enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything further?
That's all I've got. Thank
All
you.
right. Well, thanks for being here. Glad to see you. And thanks, Sean, for taking the time tonight.
Okay,
Have a good night. Meeting adjourned.
this has been brief. Thank you.